Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Writing Contest encourages youth within our community to reflect on the life and teachings of Dr. King to promote his dream and legacy. The initiative was pioneered by former Mayor Mary Lou Smith, whose passion, dedication, and advocacy for equal opportunities for all persons spearheaded the inception of this contest with the help of the Kettering Board of Community Relations. While we are currently experiencing a period of time of divisiveness within our nation, it is paramount that we reflect and apply the teachings of Dr. King to begin reuniting and healing the wounds of our nation. The youth in Kettering community have displayed tremendous grit and grace during these difficult and uncertain times. Their voices are the driving force to enact powerful change and are beacons to work toward making the world a better place. Now you will hear from the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Essay Contest winners on how individuals can make their community and world a better place.
Throughout almost all of time, men have been in power, always making decisions and in charge. That same perspective of a patriarchal world has dwindled, but has not been completely obliterated. I have witnessed this view of boys discriminating against others in my own school. Minor things, but things that can still affect someone's self-esteem. For instance, one school bus I rode was full of boys making fun of girls for being flat-chested, and always saying things that would sometimes put fellow girls in tears. This degraded all the girls on my bus, and I watched some of them become less and less social and confident, including myself. I look back now and see that I should have stood up for myself and the other girls, because that is what being a feminist is all about. Anyone can be a feminist, you just have to agree with the idea of gender equality. Feminists have sometimes been thought of as only being women, and this is, of course, not true. When you express ideas of feminism, some people might think of you as being very political and biased against men. While feminism is not a political notion at all. You can be a Republican and be a feminist, you can be a Democrat and be a feminist, you can be anything and be a feminist. Feminism is not tied to a political party. In fact, feminism is not just equal rights for women, it's equal rights for everyone in all genders and sexualities. So don't feel that you are not able to fight for feminism if you're not a female. I've been motivated to extinguish sexism in my community for a while, and I've realized that it's not easy. You can't change the way people think, and you can't change who they are. But you can present the view of equality to people that maybe don't know what feminism is. I'm not asking you to go door to door like a Girl Scout, but I am asking you to step up for yourself and others when you see them being treated in an inhumane way. Just the little things that can make a big difference. Don't just stand up for women, stand up for everyone when faced with any injustice you may find. Hopefully, I've educated you on the idea of feminism and what it's like to become a feminist in these times where gender inequality is thought of as minuscule, when it has truly always been here and we just don't see it. The only thing that I ask of you is to stand up for your fellow human beings when you see a problem, not only with sexism, but anything from someone being bullied to someone that got called a name. We all need confidence in our lives, and with that we can change a world of sexism and male domination to a world of equality and inclusion in our communities.
Rayshard Brooks, Daniel Prude, Tatiana Jefferson, Stephen Clark, Botham Jean, Tamir Rice, Philando Castile, and way too many others died and suffered at the hands of the good guys that are supposed to protect us. Rayshard Brooks fell asleep at a drive-thru. Daniel Prude had a mental illness. Tatiana Jefferson was at home with her 8-year-old nephew. Stephen Clark was in his grandmother's yard talking on his phone. Botham Jean was at home eating a bowl of ice cream. Philando Castile was in the car with his girlfriend and 4-year-old son. And Tamir Rice was at a park playing with a toy gun. Did I mention that he was 12 years old? At 12 years old, did you think you were going to die? The one thing that all these human beings had in common was that they were living while black. None of them deserved their ending. They all had lives and families. In fact, a lot of their families watched them die. If you aren't angered or disgusted by the things I've just said, then you're part of the problem that we all need to come together and fix. The Black Lives Matter movement officially started in 2013, but really moved to the mainstream with the brutal police murders of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor last spring. Why did 2 more innocent people have to die before people really took notice? Why did George Floyd's mother have to be called out in agony as Derek Chauvin had his knee firmly grounded into George Floyd's neck? Why didn't Breonna Taylor get to fulfill her dream of becoming a nurse? These are human beings that did not deserve to get their life taken away at such young ages. This first started in 1619 when the first slave ship came to the Americas, and later when the first police forces, slave patrols, began. Why is this hatefulness still here over 400 years later? Why can't we all just come together and support each other in a movement that is long overdue? For the people that are willing to educate themselves and others and are ready to take a stand against racial inequality, there is so much you need to know and can do. So what do you as a young person think you can do to create change? First, educate yourself on what you're fighting for and the history behind it. Another way to educate yourself on these topics is to listen and read reliable news sources you can count on for factual information. Also, you can join an organization for young people that wants to create change surrounding these issues. You can also learn what defunding the police really means and how police reform can help stop this epidemic. Lastly, don't let any adult or any person make you feel like your voice doesn't count or make you feel like you can't create change, because believe me, we can and we will.
Hi, my name is Tawana Jones and I am the chair of Kettering's Board of Community Relations. The board has a number of duties, including the promotion and encouragement of the creation and maintenance of an inclusive Kettering community by fostering equal opportunities and respect for all persons and organizing community educational activities, celebrations, and events that promote the diversity and inclusion in the community. The Martin Luther King Essay Contest is one of these activities. Students this year were asked to write a speech with the purpose of motivating fellow students or people in general to work together on a goal that you believe would make the world a better place. A focus would specifically address a current or recent issue. We asked the student to incorporate their own personal experience if possible. How have you been affected by or involved in the issue you chose to address? This year, we received a total of 152 entrants, with 50 of those being from the high school and 102 from middle school or junior high. Essays were reviewed by members of the Board of Community Relations and Partners for Healthy Youth. The essay with the most votes in each age group was chosen as the overall winner, with 2 runners-up in each group. A $50 prize was awarded to the winner and $25 each for each runner-up. The Board of Community Relations appreciates the effort put forth this year by contestants. Though we received a slightly lower number of essays this year, the overall quality of the essays was excellent. We appreciate the role of teachers, parents, and mentors in the submission of these essays. As we move forward in recognizing this year's winners, we look forward to an even better contest next year. Thank you so much.
In 1963, after being arrested during a civil rights march in Alabama, Martin Luther King Jr. wrote a historic letter. He expressed disappointment in the moderate white for their avoidance of issues regarding racial injustice. Specifically, Dr. King wrote, "I have almost reached the regrettable conclusion that the Negro's great stumbling block in his stride toward freedom is not the white citizen's counselor or the Ku Klux Klanner, but the white moderate, who constantly says, 'I agree with you in the goal you seek, but I can't agree with your methods of direct action.'" Not only did his statement apply to the 1960s civil rights movement, but it is also relevant during today's Black Lives Matter movement. Unfortunately, the Black American still faces racial injustice day to day and still has to fight for fundamental human rights. The conversation of what the white person can do to support their Black neighbor has been heard for a long time, yet the blockade Dr. King speaks of is still a reoccurring issue. As an average white female who faces no injustice or hardship, I continuously ask myself how to support my friends of color who deal with abundance of uncertainty. Specifically, what changes can I make? I found the most significant thing I can do like many other white moderates, is to use my white privilege to support and uplift Black men and women's voices. For example, I use my social media to share petitions to sign, ways to donate, art created by people of color, articles to educate from credible sources, and small Black-owned local businesses to support. The most common way to help the Black Lives Matter movement is to march in rallies. But another fantastic way to help the Black Lives Matter movement, or a Black friend or neighbor, is sit down with them and have a conversation about current events, how it makes them feel, and how you can help support the cause in the best way possible. I learned that supporting Black Lives Matter is to first understand the reason for the cause by reading articles written by credible Black voices. White people might wonder why they should care about a movement that doesn't relate to them. To that I say, imagine living every day being too scared to do everyday things or activities, such as going for a run, walking home, or even sitting in your own home and watching television. Black Americans deserve the respect and condolences of white Americans for the severe racial injustices they always have and continue to endure. White Americans need to take direct action now for their Black neighbors and friends. Many years ago, Martin Luther King pleaded for a society to recognize its Black members and their injustices and to act on them. Today, Americans can take Dr. King's request and work toward racial equality and justice.
Our lives are made of a finite amount of time from the second we are born until the second we die. These seconds, minutes, hours, days, and years form together within our lives to create moments that define our lifetime. We are not only responsible for how we curate and live the moments within our own lives, but it is also our duty to positively impact the lives of others so that they can continue to live them out to their fullest potential. You may be wondering why I feel so deeply about these moments, and the reason being is that in one single moment, all of the seconds, minutes, hours, days, and years that we carry with us can all be gone in an instant, and it's preventable. Suicide is the second leading cause of death in Americans ages 15 to 24. Each day, suicide takes the lives of approximately 132 people in the United States. Many factors can be attributed to the reason someone takes their own life, and nearly 50% of suicide victims have a known mental health condition. Mental health continues to be stigmatized in this country and creates fear in those who need to muster up the courage to seek life-saving care. Nobody should need to muster up courage when they need help. I know people that have judged others that experience suicidal thoughts or mental health conditions as being attention-seeking or full of themselves, and I'm sure you have too. There are disparities not only in our own social circles, but also our institutions. On top of being less accessible compared to its physical condition counterparts, mental health care is also more costly. Only half of all Americans experiencing an episode of major depression receive treatment, and not everyone who does seek treatment is treated successfully. I invite you to work with me and your friends to destigmatize mental health, work towards suicide prevention, and advocate for life. As an individual, there is a lot you can do to aid in suicide prevention. You can use your voice on social media to spread messages of hope from yourself and others. You can speak out when you see injustice that needs to be called out, and you can invite others to join you. As a group, we can join together to show solidarity and use our wonderful minds to come up with new modes of activism. If we're ambitious enough, we can even seek changes in policy that would further advance our cause. We may never know who around us is experiencing suicidal thoughts. It could be yourself, the man at the store, a neighbor, a peer, or someone else that's afraid to speak out. In one moment, they could be here, and the next they could be gone. I don't know about you, but I believe a world with more smiles walking around is a world that's a better place. Death by suicide is not a death with dignity, but with your help, there will be hope.
Sleep tonight, and may your dreams be realized. If the thundercloud passes red,
I would like to thank the phenomenal group of participants who submitted these essays for this contest. I am proud to learn that the youth in our community continue to deeply care about the importance of human connection and the teachings and legacy of Dr. King. In closing, we all have the opportunity to create long-lasting change and lay the foundation of a legacy just like Dr. King. If we stand together, hand in hand, we can make the world a better place.